Last year, Belize saw an alarming spike in deadly road traffic accidents, more than ever before. That alarming trend sparked public outcry, with many calling for tougher traffic laws and better enforcement. And while the government has stepped up highway checkpoints, a recent crash along the George Price Highway is shining a light on another serious concern: road infrastructure. In places like Hattieville, where homes sit just off of the highway, residents say simply getting around can feel like a life or death risk. Today we spoke with the Minister of Transport, Dr. Zabaneh, who says the government is now working on strategies to make roads safer, especially for cyclists.
This is the tragedy of underdevelopment. And that's why we have to do things like we're working on so that we can have more resources to do things better. I want to commend our Minister of Infrastructure Development, who in this project going on the George Price Highway, they're considering now the shoulders. You need to have shoulders so that you can have bicycles on the shoulders. We know that on the Western Highway, George Price Highway, we have cyclists, our cyclists who train, right, for all the races that occur throughout the year, Holy Saturday race, etc. And we know as drivers how it could be quite dangerous. You have to have a certain level of empathy to the rider so that you're not blowing them and because they're in front of you. So a number of things are needed now. You need to have those shoulders, those riding lanes in the villages, so that people can be safe.
On Thursday, just before 11 a.m., a young man lost his life on this very highway. 16-year-old Terrel Cardines was on his way to the store on his bicycle when he was suddenly struck by a Floralia bus. It is alleged that Cardines rode into the path of the bus and the driver was unable to avoid him. But what you may not know is that just up ahead, there are 3 rumble strips meant to slow drivers down before they arrive at the curve. But are drivers actually slowing down? When there's no traffic officer in sight, what's keeping drivers from speeding? According to Minister of Transport Dr. Zabaneh, the answer is simple: speed bumps. He says these traffic calming tools are a key part of the government's road safety strategy, especially in areas where constant enforcement isn't possible.
It's a highway, and then have the appropriate speed bumps where they need to be once it's within the village, to make sure that you control the speed. And then the enforcement that is, as I talked about earlier, that is lacking, and we have to accept that these are things that have to be improved. And again, as I said, I'm pleased that CEO Williams is there now working very hard on the side of enforcement, on the side of training, so that we could do these things.
While Zabaneh acknowledges the need for more development, he is calling on all drivers to take responsibility and hold themselves and others accountable on the road.
And then for the buses, for the drivers to be better trained so that they know where speeding limits are, and we have to put up the signage, right? This is 30 miles an hour. And then as a country, we have to start obeying laws, right? If you say 30, people just fly through. You have stop signs, people just fly through. The light red sometimes, and people just cut in front of you. These are things now that as a nation, for this to work, and that's why I appealed everywhere I go, that for things like this to work, we have to come together as a nation and change the bad habits that we've developed over the years.
He is appealing to the public to call out unsafe driving habits among family and friends. Brittany Gordon for News 5.